Hi all, Marky and John here with the Exiles, and in this video we're going to look at Liga Dura Mezzana. We're going to follow this play through the manuscript. I'm pretty sure at the end of the 90s we banged the holistic drum the loudest when we were talking about Fiore Delibere. A lot of people will of course understand that it is an holistic system and principles carry through. It's a little bit more complicated than just seeing the same technique repeated in different sections, okay? There's a lot more to it than that. But actually that's what we're going to focus on today. We are going to focus on the narrow element that is a technique having multiple applications. So we're going to look at Liga Dura Mezzana, which is a middle bind, and I'll explain that in a moment. If I can dislocate that arm, that's great, but that's not the priority. The priority is, yeah, there we go, a little bit of a bend there, but I've got this weapon to push with as well. In I go, and I'm going to come under the arm, and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before, okay? So we first see this play in the dagger section, we see it again in the sword in one hand, we see it again in the sword in two hands, and we're also going to look today at how we can apply that to Abbracciari. Bearing in mind it's Abbracciari and dagger really need to be thought of as the same thing. What we're going to do is talk about this as a holistic principle, okay? It's a common thing running through the system, but we're also going to talk about the subtle differences between its application and why actually when you're looking at Fiore holistically it is still important to understand that there are subtle differences mechanically with the same technique that we see repeated throughout the different sections. So we first see the middle bind, Liga Dura Mezzana, in the first master of dagger. First master's coming off of the left hand. Okay, so he will attack in, I will make this cover, okay? I will find a bend in the elbow here and I will come forward, hook it in and put on this bind, okay? We call this chicken winging. We're going to let off some of the pressure. Basically, I'm giving him some pain, I'm giving him some uncomfortable feelings in the shoulder. If I can dislocate that arm, that's great, but that's not the priority. The priority is using him being out of position to attack him back, to take his dagger, etc. I'm trying to give him some pain while I deal with the weapon, okay? And if I can dislocate the arm, then that's just a nice bonus, okay? So mechanically, we set that up quite artificially, obviously, like we always do in training, but we could find that everywhere. Yeah, let's say he's made a dagger strike, I come in, and he swaps sides, and I've just made this cover, and there I go on, okay? Mechanically with that, what I'm tending to do is once I've made the bind, I've found the bend, I'm leaning away, okay, because we find that gives maximum discomfort for our opponent. I'm keeping his elbow away from his body, I'm keeping my arm away from my body, I'm trying to make it happen in the middle here. If it starts to bend, his pain goes away. If I pull it, or he can grab his dagger, if I pull it too close, I can't get any strength, okay, and I'm starting to now drift into the point of his dagger. So I keep it all happening in the middle of our bodies, okay, so that I'm getting maximum damage on my opponent's arm here, okay, and that will, as I say, be very good for my leverage, but I'm leaning away, okay, that tends to give him the most amount of discomfort. Now before we move on to looking at it with sword in one hand, I want to just throw in a quick drill. I recently had a discussion with someone about the challenge of trying to do middle binds on opponents in sparring and things like that. So let me just throw in a quick helpful drill. I think this is on a previous video from when the channel first started. We are going to pretend he's got a dagger, but we don't have a mask, so we're just going to pretend he's got a dagger, and I'm just basically going to take you through a drill. So he's going to hammer fist, okay? He's going to pretend he's got a dagger and I'm just going to catch it. As soon as I've caught it, I'm going to drop this on, okay? Now the idea is we're just working through this over and over and over again. If you want to get really technical, you can do it with the right arm too. Let's say you're facing a lefty. Yeah, it's much more difficult if you're not used to employing the right arm, and rarely would I do that because this is my offensive arm and I might have a dagger in this arm, but it's a useful drill to do. Now, what you'll find from this is it fails a lot, okay? If you don't get the right distance, if you don't get a bend in the arm, if it's straight, I need to do a different play. So when you're doing this drill, don't try and force it. From here, I can't get that Liga Dura, so I'll just do another play. I'll do another play. And if it's too bent, yeah, here, then I'll just do another play. It's important to not try and fit a square peg into a round hole. But that drill, yeah, is a really useful drill to get yourself used to doing fast action ligaduras, okay? 20 times, a couple of weeks in a row, you'll be great at them, okay? Incidentally, there's also some things you can do to help yourself along. Not everybody does this in our club, but I do. I make a seconder crease, okay? So it's important to come offline, it's important to catch it, to open him up. I make a seconder crease. So I have a crease once and I'll a crease again to get the bind. 1, 2, okay? I'll always do a seconder crease. That helps me along, but you know, if you do this kind of drill, you'll find that. I just wanted to throw that in as a useful tip. Okay, now let's look at the middle bind with sword in one hand, okay? So I'm going to come from our one-handed posture. I could have come from different positions, okay? I'm just going to set this up artificially. Okay, cut comes in, I've caught it here. Now I could have caught this in a number of different ways, a number of different covers. The arm is too straight here. I haven't been very good with my distance, so I'll do a different play. Now if I do that properly and actually pay attention, yeah, there we go. A little bit of a bend there, but I've got this weapon to push with as well. In I go, and on this goes. Now, mechanically, the entry was very similar. I come offline, and then for me, I come offline again as I made the bind. There was enough of a bend in the elbow to force the angle to start getting the bind on. Here's the difference, okay? So, I've come in, I'm underneath, I've got the bind. Now, with the dagger, I said the easiest thing to do mechanically was to come back, okay? For some reason, and this affects a lot of people, not everybody, with sword in one hand, the easiest thing to do is to lean forward, okay? Aside from the fact that I'm you know, trying to thrust him, I'm trying to hold him there just long enough to get my point online, there's something strange about the way that a lot of people do this, and we've explored this for years in the group, and I've never found we've just had a chat about it, but I've never found a particularly satisfactory answer. When you have a sword in your hand, the pushing this shoulder back like you would with a dagger actually makes it less painful for him. Okay, so if anybody has an idea why, I'd love to hear. But with doing it with sword in one hand, you lean forward and that gives them more pain, okay? It's a more secure bind, and I can't figure out why. Okay, so we're here. We're in. It's too straight. It's too straight. That's the other thing. Don't be afraid to go for a different play if you haven't got the entry quite right. Okay, there we go. We're in, we're on. Okay, so I'm here, and that's all I need to do. Again, if I can dislocate, I will, but that's not my priority. My priority is the thrust. Okay, so that's with sword in one hand. So now following this theme through, so we can apply this play again with the gioco stretto stuff with the sword in two hands. So gioco stretto means I'm now close to my opponent, okay? Generally, my right foot is now coming forward and they've stepped in to hit me, okay? Generally. So it doesn't matter what posture I'm coming from. Yeah, I've made a cover. We're nice and deep on the weapon. There's loads of options from here. Loads and loads and loads of options. Yeah, loads of options from here. But I'm going to come under the arm and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before. Okay, now, interestingly, it's the other way again. So now I'm mechanically getting more leverage if I start to lean back with the shoulder again. So unlike sword with one hand, where it's easier to lean forward, more effective, now it's back to what it was with dagger. The more I lean away, the more pain and discomfort I cause the opponent. So if we swap sides, yeah, again, doesn't matter what posture I'm coming from. Yeah, I'm here, I'm coming underneath, I'm here. Look, leaning forward, there's nothing on that. Yeah, nothing on that. Leaning back, pain. Yeah, okay. And obviously from here, I can try and get the point on, but really it's pommel strike, it's throw, it's whatever. So again, same play, same principle, same setup, same entry. Yeah, getting the bend of the arm, snaking it through, little offline if it helps again. But the finish is different, okay? I need to hold him there for long enough to get my point online. He's not going to stand there and just let me twist him up. He's going to try and struggle from that. So these small seconds of advantage, these small extra seconds of pain to distract him from what he wants to do, which is escape, they all actually matter a lot. And lastly then, just thinking about this holistic point, okay? We're not showing this play in Abbracciari, we're not showing it in unarmed, okay? But it's Abbracciari and dagger, okay? We see this play in the dagger, so in theory, we should explore it with Abbracciari. So we can do that now. So one instance at least is forcing this bind, okay? There are lots of instances where we are moving and fighting away. Yeah, look, right here, grab me, look, there's a bent arm here, okay? It's not necessarily advantageous for me to try to do the play from here because I can't get on the inside. Okay, and he's got round the head. But if we keep moving, if you keep swapping positions, yeah, right, now we're starting to get a bend. The second that elbow starts to come down, put the elbow down, there I've got my entry, okay? So from here, I've got my liga dura. I've got that middle bind, okay? And that you know, it might not present itself all the time, but it does. So if we're just moving, we're fighting, yeah, starting to, yeah, I've got it. I've got the liga dura, okay? It's there, it's a play. Now, because we drill abbracciari, because we drill dragger, because we drill everything, in my mind, the setup should prompt the play, okay? Because it's something I should have trained. Again, in pretty much every video, fighting is a series of trained responses. If the stimuli is the same and the effect is going to be the same, it's something I should at least think about accessing, okay? Instinctively, more often than not. So it's there, okay? It is there, okay? I can't say it's a technique, it's a play in abbracciari, but it's a system principle. It's a technique in the system, and therefore it's accessible. It's an option because we're learning a whole system. Yeah, punch, whatever. Punch. Look, John's basically trying to bind me up. Yeah, there you go. It's on. Yeah, and yeah, I use 2 arms there because he's twice the size of me, but it's there. Yeah, it's there. It's on. So holistic, okay? Yes, it means more than just sometimes the play is repeated. The important thing about this and this video using this example is sometimes you have to also think about those plays for what they are. Do they change with different things going on? Do they change with different weapons and so on and so forth? Of course the answer is, as everybody knows, yes, but what's important is exploring what those differences are and how you apply them. Okay, so holistic system, same plays, little differences, but important differences. So that's it for now. Thanks to John, and until the next one. So with this play, there's a couple of important things. Now, different teachers teach this in different ways. So how I was taught this was to remember 1-2, okay? So, you do your cover, and then this comes on. This is how you teach it, first of all, and I'll show you how it develops. So, 1-2, yeah? 1-2, okay? In reality, what's going to happen is this. You're going to catch it, as you all do when you're sparring, and it's going to move around a bit. That's when the arm comes on, okay? So it's still 1-2, but you're not necessarily always preempting it. You see an attack, and you just grab it on with it. Okay? Now, see this. An easy way to get this bend and keep it there is to get your finger inside of it. Okay? So we'll do that again. So, there, this comes in, finger goes in like that, which keeps the bend, okay? And everything happens away from my body and away from his body. I'll tell you the reason why. If I start bringing it towards my body, the arm starts to straighten. If I let it go towards his body, it starts to bend, okay? I keep it right in the middle, 90 degrees at his armpit, 90 degrees, so much 90 degrees, 90 degrees at the elbow, okay? And what I do is I bring it in towards myself and twist it. What you'll often see with this is it happens out here. That's not particularly uncomfortable for you, because if I bring it in and twist it, that's awful. And this gives me more leverage on this arm to push down, okay? So nice and slowly, very slowly. 1, 2, and I'm coming in.
Yeah, feel that going.
Much worse.